Welcome back. The doctor is in. Apologies for the delay in getting back to historical Wars of the Republic era, the Victoria War. This is part 3 of the series. The reason that there's been a delay is I've been working on new BattleTech products that should be coming out hopefully within the next couple months. As they get closer, look possibly for a promo video or something on that front. For now, let's dig back into the Victoria War. In the previous 2 videos, I've discussed how I went about organizing the various regiments and which planets they were hitting, who was attacking, who was defending, and when these battles occurred, to account for transport times between worlds for the different factions and all of that. The second part of the series dealt with the major personalities and why the war was launched in the first place. What it really boils down to is avarice and public image and revenge. Now I want to get into the war itself. Once all of the background and supporting information has been started, it's necessary to, it's not so much necessary, but I would like to go ahead and start into the meat of writing the war itself. So of course we begin with the invasion by Amanda Hasek, leader of the Capellan March of the Federated Suns. Her troops jumped into the Capellan Confederation on 7 September 3103. I chose that date specifically because it was the 34th anniversary of when the Capellans invaded New Syrtis during the Word of Blake Jihad. New Syrtis is the capital world of the Capellan March and the homeworld of the Hasek family. So, one thing I want to point out here, and I hope you can see it on the screen, and it's one of the issues that has cropped up, just a difference between myself and the editorial personnel. If you look at the second to last sentence, it says, or it reads, "On all 3 worlds, Hasek's forces arrived via pirate points and dropped troops to first secure the HPGs instead of engaging the defenders." You might notice that there is a split infinitive. It has to first secure. When I wrote it, it was first to secure. I hate split infinitives. If you see one in my writing, you can be sure that someone changed what I had specifically to split the infinitive. It bothers me. We've gone back and forth on it. Since editorial comes after writing, they have that final say on things. It's out of my hands. It frustrates me. I don't like split infinitives. It's one of my pet peeves, but so it is. Anyway, the first 3 worlds that get hit are Zanzibar, Jackson, and Menki. Oh no. What have I done? Okay, here we go. Here we have brief descriptions of which regiments hit which world and how the initial invasion proceeded. I tried to be as brief as possible. As I mentioned in the previous video, word count was somewhat limited based on the total page count for the book. So while I might want to go into great detail on individual battles on these worlds, there simply wasn't space to devote to it. While I'm here, though, on the first 3 worlds, on Jackson, I have Holt's Hilltoppers joining the assault. Now this is one of the battalions of the Hilltoppers. When I get to the spotlight on Holt's Hilltoppers PDF product that I wrote, I'll discuss their specific organizational structure. Suffice to say, they tend to hire out one of their battalions while the rest remain on their new homeworld in the Franc Reaches. And that's alluded to in brief in the second paragraph under Jackson. Here I've got part of what I'm trying to do here is explain how the Hilltoppers came to be in the employment of the Capellan Confederation in Field Manual 3085. That was a decision made without consulting me, even though I'm the one who created their unit. Here I'm trying to remedy that error after the fact, and it gets explained in greater detail in the Spotlight on, which I'll get to when I make a video on that product. Suffice to say, in brief, without specifics as far as location and number of troops and all that, some of those details can come in, but for the most part, you say this unit hit this place and attacked this unit and seized this site. And that's really all there's time for the most part. So let's go ahead. We move on to the next page. And here we've got, let me adjust this just a little bit. There we go. So here we've got continuation of the opening stage. And then the primary target of the invasion is the world of Victoria. So here I break out a separate section for the Siege of Victoria. Now, because Victoria is a factory world making battle mechs, and it's in the BattleTech universe, it's one of the most important worlds in the BattleTech universe. So it's going to be very heavily defended. And that's, of course, why it is the name of the war, because it was the focus of the war. So here we've got how the opening stage went. We've got the initial aerospace battle between aerospace fighters. So these are the Top Gun elements, and the aerospace element of BattleTech has not always been the most well-loved portion of the game setting. There's been Aerotech box set, there was an Aerotech 2 rule set, there's been Battlespace. Nothing has ever really caught on as well as BattleTech itself. So while the aerospace element is very important in the fiction, it's never been as much of an essential component for the gameplay. There are diehards who really like the Aerotech game. They are few and far between in my experience. So we've got this initial combat, and based on the opening stage, I requested these sorts of maneuvering and deployment maps to show where the units started and where they traveled to, both for the invaders and for the defenders. And so you can see the dash lines are for the Capellan defenders, the solid lines are for the Federated Suns invaders, and the worlds under contest are outlined with the star shape to represent the explosion. And because there were troops from the Magistracy of Canopus, rather than add another set of arrows, the worlds where the Canopian troops deployed to aid the defenders are simply grayed in this map. So that's for the opening stage. We've got the initial Capellan response. We've got how I made sure to note that the invasion was a surprise. In the previous video, I noted how the Chancellor was focused more on the Republic of the Sphere and trying to regain the territory lost to that new nation after the Word of Blade Jihad. And the reason that the Capellans were able to respond so quickly to reinforce the worlds that were under assault is because of the jump ship networks that they had established, intended to invade their former territory in the Republic. And I broke everything out as far as waves of reinforcements, because the jump ship network, each jump ship takes about a week to recharge before it can make its next jump. So they can't simply appear where they need to go. They're limited to about a 30 light year range. Takes roughly a week to recharge. So by having jump ships staged at individual worlds, you can transfer drop ships from jump ship to jump ship and speed up the overall travel time. However, each jump ship then needs to recharge before it can, say, return to its starting point. And for the most part, that's true. Some jump ships have what are called lithium fusion batteries, which allow them to store an extra jump charge so they can jump and then immediately jump again without recharging their jump drive. Here we've got the 3 initial reinforcement waves, and then on the next page I've got 4th, 5th, and 6th waves. And everybody is trying to get to the worlds that are now in Federated Suns' hands after they wiped out the meager defense, with the exception of Victoria, because Victoria was so well defended. It's now basically a world of constant combat. There may be a cordon in space, but there's always going to be somebody that can break through the embargo, the blockade, and get to the world so that you can still have ground combat, which is the heart and soul of BattleTech. So that's essentially the opening stage of the invasion. I'm going to stop right here. The next phase of the battle is when the former Free Worlds League states try to take advantage of the chaos in the Capellan Confederation so that they can invade and try to seize territory on the opposite side of the Confederation from the Federated Suns invasion. So, on that note, I'm going to let you go. Look for part 4 coming up soon, but for now, the Doctor is out.